Hi everybody, wish you a very good morning. So today we are just going to explore the difference between neuro-language and neurolinguistics, and this is a considerably theoretical topic wherein we'll be looking at how neural language is different from neurolinguistics in its usage, and how we can really delve deeper into both. Okay, so what is language? It's a system of communication used by humans to express thoughts, emotions, and ideas. So, as all of us know, the language is generally coming out of our knowledge, right? Our knowledge of a specific language. For example, if you speak Tamil or Hindi or English, it is generally coming after the learning has, actually been accomplished to a certain extent, right? When we are born, we don't know any language. But as we keep learning, we keep moving forward and we are also improvising on the language. So, in a way, we can say language is something that, I mean, very obviously, it's a tool that we use to communicate with others, but language is also something that's coming out of our knowledge that we're picking up after we learning it from other people. Okay, so it also comes in spoken form and written form. Sign languages also, can be learned along with spoken languages. Likewise, written languages and symbols are used. The grammatical rules are, there is a rule for every language. There are rules. There are certain norms. The ways of expressing them, like for example in English we have the vowels and consonants and so on, and language is a tool that people use to communicate. Okay, so simple, whatever you know about language, simple, but just understand one thing, that language is something that we have learnt after we have communicated with people, or after we have heard from people, which means all our sensory organs, whatever they're picking up, not just the energy but also the words they're picking up, that is what comprises of language. Okay, now linguistics is the scientific study of language. So as you see, linguistics and language are not the same. Okay, linguistics is actually studying language. How do you actually, why is it that you're speaking that language? When you start asking those questions, okay, that's what linguistics is all about. So it studies how languages are structured, the grammar, syntax, and to a great extent also studies why languages are structured like that. Okay, that automatically happens when you keep going deeper into the study of language. You also start asking why. Okay, how did this happen? For example, if you look at Sanskrit or a Tamil, right? Very obviously, you will start wondering, how did it actually start? Which was the first word? Which was the second word? Why certain syllables or certain sounds are combined to form this language, etc., etc. Sounds is phonetics and phonology. Meaning, which means semantics behind a specific language. Word formation, which is morphology. Then how language is used socially, right? How were people communicating like 1,000 years before, like the 2026 that we are in, and how are people communicating now? Has it evolved? Has it changed? All these questions, when we start asking all these questions, this is what comprises of linguistics. Likewise, how children learn language, right? Why was, for example, if I take the example of Tamil, for instance, right? In the olden days, Tamil used to be a very difficult language, actually, much more difficult than what we speak today, because of being one of the most ancient languages. So how has it evolved over time? How were children learning even that difficult language at that point in time, and why now today everything is so simplified, right? All these questions is what, when you're asking all these questions, is what forms the structure and theory of linguistics, how languages evolve over time. Linguistics is the science that studies how language works, how it has worked, how it's working, how it's going to work. For example, if someone studies why Tamil sentence structure differs from English or how accents develop, they are doing linguistics. Okay, so this is the primary difference between language and linguistics. Now coming to summary, the easier way to remember the difference between the both, language is the vehicle, okay? The vehicle on which our thoughts are riding. Let me put it this way. How we express our thoughts, feelings, emotions, etc. The vehicle is the language, okay? We are expressing it through the language, via the language, right? It also means if somebody is using beautiful language, that means they're also feeling, thinking, and there's a high possibility they will act beautifully also, because the words are beautiful, isn't it? The sounds are beautiful, etc., etc., because the feeling is beautiful, isn't it? So it's the vehicle, right? Now, if somebody is constantly using slang languages, then you obviously know what's going on, right? Okay, so linguistics, the engineering study of the vehicle. So just like how we study, engineering for different things, buildings and computer and, etc., etc., similarly, Linguistics is the engineering study of the vehicle, which is the language. So you speak a language and you study linguistics. Okay, this is the primary difference. So this is an overall summary of what is neural language. Neural language is brain's internal language processing. Okay, and how this processing is happening through our experiences, through our sensory experiences, through our neurotic experiences, through our elemental experiences, by listening to others, by feeling, of certain feelings ourselves, and so on and so forth. Biological and neural activity that's happening on a daily basis, like our karmic lessons that we learn on a daily basis, by the thoughts we think on a daily basis, by the words we speak, by the sounds we endorse, etc. Focuses on neurons and signals, as we all know, happens automatically. It is an automatic thing, right? Language happens on its own because it's taken for granted, because the brain has already learnt it. Okay, brain activates when hearing a word. So brain has the capacity to activate our sense organs, and you start seeing things, you start listening to things. So when somebody says, for example, flower, okay, your sense organs actually start smelling flowers. Your sense organs actually start seeing flowers even, right? So your capacity to imagine is activated when language is spoken. Okay. Likewise, now neurolinguistics is a scientific study of language in the brain. It's an academic research field. Okay, this is why what we speak to ourselves is a study. Actually, you need to study your own language. Okay, what is it that I'm speaking in this moment, and why did I do that? Okay, studies brain and language relationship, and how brain is perceiving things, how brain is interpreting things, and so on and so forth. It involves experiments and theories. For example, research on bilingual brain processing. For example, if you speak like 2 languages or 3 languages, right? How is it that the brain has actually learned all these 3 and actually mastered all these 3, right? Is the brain also confusing the 3 languages? For example, it is auto-translating, right? How is it doing? So the study of all of this is what is known as neurolinguistics, okay? So if you found this video powerful, right? If it resonated with you, just comment powerful, okay?